Just a quick update on some new stuff I got from Amazon recently. Let me just take this little pen off of here. I always keep forgetting that. So you might notice something different here. This is just a little toy I got. It's a LED you can program. You've probably seen them online. There's plenty of Amazon, YouTube reviews on it. It was cheap. I think I probably paid like 25 bucks, something like that. But it's cool. You know, it's different. Something to play around with. You can make it go the other direction. Change all the little doohickeys. Yeah, anyway. But I got that for a project, believe it or not. So you might recall I mentioned these things. I'm working on something with this, and I'll go ahead and tell you what some of it is. So yeah, for those of you who guessed spaceship, rockets, and all kinds of jazz, you're partially right. For those of you who guessed futuristic cityscape, well, you're also partially right. A bunch of these are going to be what I'd call Blade Runner-esque miniature cityscape buildings. I'm going to put them all on little independent platforms. Probably these wooden ones I've got. Let me see if I got one here, just so you know what I'm talking about. If I can find one. Here we go. So I've got these I bought a while back, also off Amazon. It's just like a little wood panel. It's got a base on it. And what the plan is we're going to mount those buildings on here, and I'm going to run some batteries underneath with some holes. You know, do a little street maybe, or some other little cityscape with a few of these buildings. And I'm going to run some lights and other fun stuff through those things. Including a lot of these little 3D parts I printed out a while back. You might remember a video where I was showing off some of these. But I'll be using some of these things for spaceships and some of the buildings. You know, just using them as little decorative features on a lot of these. I've got all these little panels and things that will go on here. Little bits of structures and things like that. So that's what those are for. How am I going to light these up? I'll tell you, because I got more goodies from Amazon. Oh, and in case you're wondering what this light is, yeah, that kind of got inspiration from that. Remember, I don't know if you remember seeing Blade Runner. If you haven't seen the movie, you know, go out and see it. I'm sure you can find it online. There's a real famous blimp that's got some, and a lot of other signs, but it's got all kinds of scrolling LED stuff going on it. There's an Atari sign. So I might do something kind of funky like that. But the one I'm using is this one here. If you're interested in buying your own, just like everything, right? Made in China. But yeah, you can do all kinds of graffiti, little animations. It's USB powered. They have one this one's Bluetooth, but I have to run a cable to it. And the other one has, there's another one that's a little more expensive you can get that's wireless that doesn't require you to charge it. I mean, rather, it doesn't require a cable connected to it all the time. It's got a built-in battery, but, you know, I mean, I might end up getting that too, because I mean, I'm just playing around with this right now. I just wanted to experiment with it, and for 25 bucks, it was fun, cheap enough to where I could play with it. But for the lighting and for a bunch of other stuff, I've got some more beads of different shapes and colors, which I'll be using for some of the features on the buildings and some of the spaceships. I might be making some mecha. Definitely, don't worry, for those of you who are waiting, I'm going to build a mecha. It's going to be one of these guys. I think I said it was going to be the Zaku first, so we're going to do that. In fact, I think this is the Zaku box. Yeah, the Zaku 3. Got some of these guys. These are more beads, only these have some... What's different about these is, I don't know if you can tell, There's little things in here that have some geometric shapes. I'll be using those for some robots and some other projects in the future, spaceships and things. There's a few that are like, I don't know if they're trapezoids. There's a couple in there. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to make out. But anyway, yeah, there's some fun shapes in there. Going back to the lighting. I know. I'm just all over the place. For the lighting, I'm going to be using this stuff. And if you're not familiar with this, it's not fishing line. It's not weed whacker line. These are fiber optic, little fiber optic cables. Not quite the same as the, and these are 0.75 millimeters, so slightly less than a millimeter thick. But I got about, was it 100 pieces? 100 of these. The way these work is, I'll draw you a little picture because I just love doing that so much. The way these work is, you have a, let me get all this stuff out of the way. You have the fiber optic cable, or in this case, just those little thin lines. And it's basically, if we're looking at it from this direction, let's say we take a section of this. Let's say that this is the top and the bottom of one of these strands, right? What you do is you shine the light on one end, and it doesn't light up the whole thing necessarily. It takes that light, regardless of how you bend this, within reason. I don't think you can do a tiny U-turn. I mean, at some point you'll break it. It's not fiber optic glass strands, in other words, but there is a tolerance to it. That light gets shined. Let me zoom in a little bit. That light gets shined in on one end, travels the length of that strand, and reappears here at the other end. So the idea is, if you've got a building, let's say this is a building, and you've got some windows, you could potentially just run one strand in the middle of this building and let that light shine everywhere. Maybe put some foil. Ignore that. You can put some foil to kind of reflect it out, and it would shine that LED out. Now, with these really tiny buildings, let's say I'm doing, come on. Let's say I'm doing this big round one here, like this guy here, and I want to make this a really enormous scale. So I'd have tons and tons of tiny lights on the inside of that. The way I would do that is, let's say this is the building, right? And there's a bunch of dots in here where the lights are going to be. I would run one strand to each light, and then all of those strands would be bundled together into one section, live, right? God. And at the base of that section, there'd be an LED pushing the light through every single one of these. Good Lord, take a hint. So what you end up with is a sort of a spread out bundle of fibers that come down to, like, let's say like my arm or my hand. This is where the LED would be, and it would shine that light through each tip, giving you a bunch of little dots along the sides of these buildings and filling them with light. So that's the plan. There's all kinds of other things you can do with them. If you cut sections of this or little grooves into the strand of fiber, you can actually release light where you've cut those sections. So not just from the end. You can even paint these. I've seen people make Christmas tree lights out of them, which is pretty amazing. You can also paint the ends and use those as individual lights. So if I don't like the white LED light shining through, I can literally even maybe cap one of these little crystals on the end of it. I could melt it into a different shape at the tip and literally put paint over it and it'll come up with a light that's a different color. Well, looks like my time is up here, so I will talk to you guys later. More info as I get it. Sorry for the constant interruptions, but this is kind of a spur of the moment live thing. Not like I told everybody not to call me, and I do use my phone, so oh well. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. As this sort of stuff develops and I start working on these projects and getting them started up again. Again, it's kind of like when I find time to do it. I will give you some videos. If you catch me live while I'm working on them, then you're one of the lucky few. I'm not going to be posting the live videos anymore. If you catch me live, it's basically me working on whatever project I'm working on to be made into a video later. So those live broadcasts, aside from this one, which will probably be, among the shorter ones, those will not be posted for viewing. Stuff like this, where I'm just giving you quick updates, will be, and I'll leave them up. But the longer 1 to 2 hour live broadcasts will normally be taken down almost immediately after they're shown. What I'll probably do with those later, besides, of course, taking them and editing them down to a more digestible video with music and whatnot, is I'll be leaving those for people who are part of the, the community when YouTube opens that up, and I'll make those available to those people who are part of that. So, bonuses for the future, right? But I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Just like the little sign says, please subscribe, like, and see you in the next video. Bye.